Welcome back to In His Mind. First and foremost, I want to thank Wartime Stories channel for putting this video out. Now, it is like roughly a year old, but it has had a tremendous impact in my life. The third story in particular mirrors my own testimony, which I wanted to take some time to kind of highlight again because it is important. Now, this was in my unit, but it was a year prior to my first deployment, which my first deployment was in 2008. I want to say that there's some similarities between the accounts and testimonies of those there, along with mine. But overall, things happen a little bit differently, and I think prayer for my parents ended up being a major difference. This is something that I've thought about for years. I'm talking about what happened, the entity and all that. The entity in itself was in my life for roughly around 13 years. So from like around 2008, give or take, to a week before the Christmas of 2019, when it had a very short conversation with me and ended up just simply turning around and walking off. So when 2020 came around, it wasn't just simply COVID, but it was also dealing with the hole in my life and this gap of what to do. And honestly, I've lost some memories because of that. However, the importance is I was free and I had to find my way forward alone. That is hard. That's hard to talk about. But it's important because, well, to my knowledge, not everyone has entities in their life to begin with. And second, it's likely not many of them have entities that are bound and have parents who pray for them every single day. Anyway, I just want to play the story of someone. I hope it impacts you as it did me.
The subject of the paranormal is a fascination to many, no less those who have experienced it. Soldiers fighting on the front lines of any war are clearly no stranger to these experiences. Why this is such a commonality across the documented wars throughout humanity is up for speculation. Perhaps where there is much death and suffering, there are often strange and unexplained happenings. But it cannot otherwise be denied that wherever you go in the world, there exists a variety of localized beliefs. So when soldiers with their own set of beliefs and experiences from one part of the world find themselves in a distant country, unfamiliar to them, is it really that surprising when these soldiers then encounter things that the locals have long considered ordinary and routine? Of course, to them, the experience can be terrifying. It's not something they would have ever expected to see. Whether you believe in spirits or not, seeing is believing. And for these soldiers, they are the ones telling us they saw something. This is the Smoke Pit, and these are true stories from service members serving in Iraq about their encounters with something the locals would collectively identify as jinn. The Baghdad Mall. This story really still freaks me out, and I still get chills thinking. I don't know if anyone there ring at ground level staring a hole through me, and as this and I always made a habit of making into the parking location for QRF, and that's it. But for the next 3 consecutive nights, when I was on a sleep shift and had some kind of dream, Passion of the Christ. So I sat there watching out over the road. We finished. There was nowhere for me. But other guys in my outfit later told me about it. The Winged Jinn. Hey, Doc, I did just want to say I'm real sorry. I heard about your family. So, I hope you have a safe trip.
Hey, bro.
IED?
What the hell's going on?
Hey, radio him up. See what's going on. There you go. Hey, what's up? Why'd you stop?
Something flew in front of the HV. What's going on?
The Winged Jinn.
Time check? Hello?
Hey.
Hello?
Doc,
Time check?
I did just want to say I'm real sorry. I heard about
3 minutes and 9 seconds. 3 minutes and 9 seconds. All right.
family. Jinn. The Winged Jinn. Hey, Doc, I did just want to say I'm real sorry. I heard about your family. So, I hope you have a safe trip.
Hey, bro.
IED?
What the hell's going on?
Hey, radio him up. See what's going on. There you go. Hey, what's up? Why'd you stop?
Something flew in front of the HV.
What the hell?
What the hell did you just say?
Flew in front of the HV?
Yeah.
Did you guys see anything? No, we didn't see anything.
Does anyone hear that? Helo?
Where is that coming from?
Yeah.
Yes, but I don't see it. Do the other two vehicles? Sergeant, what the hell am I looking at right now?
We got something out here.
Holy shit, what is that? This last story was shared online in 2020 by an Army medic serving in Iraq in 2006 under the user handle HaveADucky81. Like many who have shared similarly strange and unbelievable stories, she did say she expects people to disbelieve her. She said that in addition to not reporting this incident for obvious reasons, she and her fellow soldiers avoided sharing this story to avoid the ridicule. But she insists this story happened exactly as she describes it. She writes, "My unit in the U.S. Army was deployed to Iraq in April of 2006. We were in Ramadi. It was 123 kilometers, 77 miles outside of Baghdad. I was in a Humvee heading to Baghdad for emergency leave due to a death in my family. It was close to midnight. The Humvee I was in had 3 others and a turret gunner. The 2 other Humvees with us had the same, 5 total people in each, with 1 truck in front of mine and 1 in back, so we're the truck in the middle. I didn't have my rifle due to having already been checked out on leave. So all of a sudden, the Humvee in front of us slams on the brakes hard. And we all figured it was a possible IED or VBIED. The team leader and our HV radioed the lead HV. Just then, in the desert off the highway, all of us saw what looked like a black figure. It looked like a huge bird, and it looked like smoke was emitting from it, a blackish, greenish smoke with a bit of a blue tinge. So we're all trying to focus our nods on what we're seeing, and the 2 troops in our truck that had better nods than anybody else said they could see something but couldn't make out what it was. The smoke was distorting the view, and within a second or two, a rock was then thrown at one of the HV, and it was a big rock, like the size of someone's head, and we all froze. So due to rules of engagement, we couldn't just light it up. So we used a spotlight on it, and in that light, whatever this thing was, it just flew straight up and simultaneously we heard a loud screeching noise. All of this happened very quickly. We all sat there in a state of mingled shock, curiosity, and what? Panic? And what the hell was that thing? When we got to Baghdad, we rendezvoused there was an Iraqi translator that they were picking up to bring to the Marines that were with us. And he told us quite plainly, it sounds like you encountered an Efreet. One of the team leaders responded, a what? An Efreet, this guy said, a winged jinn. We were all a bit speechless. And we chose not to disclose to our command this winged thing that we saw. Battle fatigue, now more commonly known as PTSD, that was a career killer at this juncture. It's been 13 years since this happened. I met my now husband in 2015, a fellow soldier, and coincidentally he had also been deployed to Ramadi with my sister unit, 26 Infantry Division at the time. He had also passed down this particular stretch of highway on his mid-deployment leave. He eventually recounted a story to me about something he saw, which completely shocked me because it was very similar to my story, with the exception that they never stopped. They just said screw it, they just boogied on through. They didn't stop their vehicles. I was a medic, so death was my daily norm, especially considering the time we were there was very deadly, including an aid station manned by soldiers that was ambushed and blown to bits. Now, I still can't wrap my head around this, but it didn't end in Iraq. I think something followed me home, not sure what, although I've often wondered if it might have been a soldier, one of the ones I couldn't save. Because now, the last two places we've lived in, something has followed us from each place. For the living, death is an awful thing to bear witness to. And certainly that is much more...
Yeah, that's good. It's good enough right there. So, small correction, I was a little off on the time. I remembered the deployment that they were talking about being in 2007, but yeah, apologies, 2006. Yeah, apologies there. Got the deployment wrong. So 2006, not 2007, as I previously remembered. It's a story that I still think about. It is better to watch it than to just simply listen to it, though. Though, listening to it brings up powerful memories for those who've been in similar places where they've seen things, they've heard things, and I don't know. Either way, it is a part of my testimony because something from over there came into my life and stuck around for about 13 years and then just left. How's that something? How is that? How do you handle something like that? It doesn't make sense. Like, why it happens and then how do you happen? It doesn't make sense on why it happened and then figuring out what to do about how to handle it. Man, it really messes with you. Either way, just want to give a shout out to Wartime Stories channel and this particular video. I hope you check out the whole thing, and the link will be in the description down below. And I hope one day I can get my testimony properly recorded in a way that, well, is both accurate and in a way that interests other people, that kind of takes me out of the picture entirely. I think in some ways, to tell my story properly, I need someone who is a better speaker than me, who doesn't make mistakes, to actually do justice. All right, until next time.